Welcome to the Warframe weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Kuva Nukor. The only way to get this weapon is by vanquishing a Kuva Lich that's wielding it. Now, just in case you don't know how to do that, don't worry, because I recently made an updated guide on hunting Kuva Liches and I will link it in the video description. The Kuva Nukor is a secondary beam pistol that does pure radiation damage with fairly low 7% crit chance, a massive 5x crit multiplier, and very good 50% status chance. The beam has a base range of 29 meters, which is quite a lot, and the weapon comes with a 77 round magazine and a 2-second reload. The most interesting and perhaps the best thing about the Kuva Nukor when compared to the standard Nukor is that its beam will chain to up to 2 nearby enemies that are up to 9 meters away and do 50% of the weapon's damage to them as well. Though that's of course not the only difference between the standard Nukor and the Kuva Nukor has a bigger magazine, higher crit chance, higher crit multiplier, higher status chance, and even though it does slightly less damage, once you factor in the bonus damage you get on the weapon based on the Warframe you spawn the Lich with, it actually does more damage as well. Now for the Kuva Nukor, I would highly recommend you try to get bonus heat damage, as the build you will most likely end up running on it is going to be a hybrid that utilizes vital and heat. And finally, before we check out the build, I just quickly want to mention that as a Kuva weapon, the Kuva Nukor gains more mod capacity and you also extract more mastery from it as you put on more and more forma up to a maximum of 5, so if you want to squeeze the absolute maximum out of it and unlock the ability to install a lens, you're gonna have to put on 5 forma. Now, as I've mentioned already, the build is going to be a hybrid that utilizes Viro and heat. Now, the reason we go for hybrid, even though the crit chance is very low, is because of that ridiculously high crit multiplier. I mean, with just prime target cracker, your crits are going to be doing over 10 times the damage. It's actually a very fun set of stats because you can really feel the crits in combat. The enemies will absolutely get demolished whenever you crit them. And speaking of demolishing enemies, that's precisely what this weapon is good at. It is very powerful even on its own, but once you start adding in some extra bonuses, it gets oh so much better. This weapon scales ridiculously well with added crit damage, so stuff like Harrow's Covenant or the buff you get from a crit cavat. Basically, anytime you can give it any sort of extra crit, it's going to skyrocket your damage. There's a reason why this is one of the more popular weapons in the game. It's just a great farming weapon because of the extra AoE as the beam chains around, but it also does great single target, especially if you give it some bonus extra crit from somewhere. And it has a bit of a funny aspect to it as well, because it's a microwave gun, so whatever body part you target on the enemy is going to grow in size as you beam into it. So the Kuva Nukor definitely belongs on the must-have list. It's a very good and fun gun, and I genuinely can't think of anything bad to say about it. It's just very good. And that is, mind you, with me not using galvanized mods and not having an arcane on the weapon either. If you invest everything you can into it, it's gonna be even better. So go ahead and pick it up. You will not regret it. Trust me. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.